live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Good topics.
Yes.
All right, this was a good one. And you said this before we started recording. We were discussing topics.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few real good topics that could have been our feel good final thought.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was really good, given how much time we were off.
Yeah.
And just to have so many different stories out there.
Yeah.
Just to discuss that have the impact on us that a feel good final thought has.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The first one, Sandra Douglas Morgan becomes the first Black woman president in NFL history. Let's applaud her.
Listen, round of applause, ma'am. For sure.
This is one of the things in football, and I know that I've seen it. There's been some reluctance to embrace women in certain positions in football.
Right.
But I think that we are seeing more and more that not only do these women deserve these opportunities, but they are doing well. The women who are in the positions that they have are doing well in those positions.
Just saying.
And so, for someone to aspire, like I remember, and I know I told this story before, I remember this young lady named Eris who wanted to play football with us. And she just loved the sport. She just wanted to be around football. She wanted to play. And for someone like her to aspire to be somewhere in football and the doors kind of be closed to her, just, you know what I'm saying? Like that didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And so for these ladies to have always wanted to be a part of football, and I do understand that there are like women leagues out there, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even talking about the lingerie league.
Yeah, no.
But the NFL is the pinnacle of football leagues. It just is. And so for these ladies to have these opportunities to hold these positions is is much needed progress, you know. And it really is just dope to see. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely dope. Absolutely. Yeah.
No,
No,
go ahead. I'm sorry, Kai. I didn't want to
No, I first of all, let me start off by saying kudos to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Because as someone who is trying to find my way in that world, it is definitely a boys' club. And it's one of those things where you need to find how you fit in order to be a part of it. And so for the Raiders to offer her this opportunity to not have to fit in, but based on her merit, right?
Right.
To bring her in to say, we feel confident and comfortable that you can lead our organization is huge. And I know most people who, if you're new to the podcast, you may not know, but my goal is to be one of these first. But it's whether I'm the first female African American, whatever that is chaplain in the NFL. That's my goal.
Can you imagine? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I'm just thinking about we talk about all of these women in these first woman to be a coach in the NFL. Yeah. It started off with like a coach. She wasn't on the field. Then we see the Jennifer King, coach on the field. Yeah. President, like all these positions. Can you imagine if we are discussing this on this podcast and we
Yeah.
say the first woman chaplain in the NFL,
Yeah.
Stephanie Fitzpatrick.
Man, that would be amazing.
Now I
That
can
would be
imagine it
amazing.
because I see it happening. But
Oh, wow.
just
Amen.
thinking about, you know, the route that it took for you to get there and just some of the things that you had to overcome. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
Just put it out there. Eyeball sweat is on the way.
You gotta prepare the viewers and the listeners.
Just say, everybody, y'all just be ready.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I went to church this morning and he talked about faith in your words. And so I was about to say it one way, but I'm going to say it another way because I am walking in faith and believing God that He put that seed inside of me, and so it will come to pass. That I cannot wait until that day.
Yeah.
When I can say I am working as a chaplain for the NFL.
The first.
The first.
Mm-hmm.
Not
just the first Black woman, the first woman.
First woman. Listen, God, if you want that for me, I want it for me. That's how I see it. Like I don't. And let me just. This is sidebar, but I am so grateful for God bringing me to a place where I live in Ocala and having the people that I'm working with through Fellowship of Christian Athletes support that goal.
Yeah.
Because they could be, and please believe that it's still majority male. Even FCA is majority white male at that. So for them to get behind me is humbling.
Yeah.
So shout out to Beef. That's my supervisor in FCA.
Yeah.
Our area director. Everywhere we go and he introduces me, he makes sure to tell people that is my goal.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go, he makes sure to tell people that is my goal. And I appreciate that because you never know who's in the room.
Right. You never know.
What and who can say what? Are we two people away from knowing who we need to know? Like
who can introduce you to who? And
so I'm grateful that I have that support through Fellowship of Christian Athletes to at least, you know what I'm saying, to see my vision, to support my vision. So this story for me is extra special. She raised my hope a little more. My faith grew a little more in seeing this story.
Right. Yeah, that's it. See?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like things like this where maybe 15 years ago you don't see anything like this. So it doesn't feel possible.
No.
Now it's like it's continuing to build. And so
absolutely.
Shout out to her. And for those people who don't understand or who don't know her background and understand why she is deserving of a position like this. She served on the Nevada State Athletic Commission and was the chairwoman of the Nevada Gaming Control Board.
Yeah.
So this is certainly in her wheelhouse. She's certainly qualified.
Absolutely.
For this. And so we wish her much success.
Yes.
Much success.
Absolutely. I'm a Raiders fan now.
Yeah.
Gotta be. I want to see them do well just for her. Right.
Right. So
just for her.
So that you don't hear the "I told you so's." You know what I'm saying? Because they're out there. You know. But yeah, shout out to her.
Absolutely.
This next story, man, I
yeah.
During I want to say between 05, 06, 07, 08 in the NFL, there were a lot of young men who lost their lives. I mean, maybe not a lot. There were a few young men
it was significant.
Yeah, like, and I think about all of these guys, and I just remember like hearing the stories about them losing their life and in the way that they did. And I like, it was incomprehensible to me because I'm like, yo, these guys are millionaires. They're playing in the NFL. Like, how is this possible?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how, like, so, you know, obviously being in DC and the impact that Sean Taylor had on the city and seeing him lose his life in the way that he did, I'm like, how is that possible? And then you see somebody like Durant Williams from the Broncos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who's the other guy? I can't think of the other guy right now. But this one was especially tough because when he lost his life, I feel like there was a little bit of a swell of like negative press about this, and it didn't sit right with me, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think after, if I remember correctly, after a while, like people kind of, like the media kind of got it together. But when Chris Henry, how he lost his life, the way he lost his life, and the decision that the media decided the decision that they made in covering his death and all that surrounded, like, just felt really unfair. So seeing this story so many years later, it really touched me, you know.
I mean, it was hard. So you got to think about the kids in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So if people don't know, let's tell them the story, just in case they don't know. Okay, what happened to Chris?
So Chris Henry, he was in a dispute with
his fiance.
His fiance.
She wasn't his wife. She was his fiance.
Yeah, she was his fiance. Yeah. And so she was in the truck, and she was trying to leave, and he hopped on the bed of the truck. And when he hopped on the bed of the truck, she was trying to get away, and so she sped off. And in her speeding off, he lost his balance, fell off the truck, hit his head, and passed away from the injuries of him hitting his head. And so, you know, the surrounding that, one of the things that the media came out and said that because of the actions of that day, they suspected, you know,
violence,
abuse. You know, or domestic violence.
There was an abusive relationship.
Right. And so I thought that, you know, and the narrative was kind of framed around the idea that maybe he deserved this. And I think that's what didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, no, because nobody deserves to lose their lives.
Right.
And it was also, you know, later found out that he did suffer from CTE. Mm-hmm. So again, like, we have these conversations often about this, but feel like more money needs to be spent on figuring out how to deal with this when people are alive.
Right, yeah.
Versus discovering once they're dead that they had it. Like, who cares at that point, honestly?
Right.
Like, can we deal with it while they're alive? Can we figure out how we're going to deal with what we see in front of us on a day-to-day basis? But they had children.
Yeah.
Or one son at least. I think they had a couple. I think they had two kids.
I think they had more than one.
I think they had two kids, but particularly Chris Henry Jr.
Yes.
Yes.
And which is the basis of this story, because, you know, when you hear those stories and you don't necessarily follow up, you know, about what happened to the family and what, you know. And so I saw a picture a few weeks ago, or maybe it wasn't a few weeks ago, maybe it was just a week or two ago. There was a picture of Pac-Man Jones with this young man. And when I looked at the young man, I was like, that's Chris Henry's son.
Chris Henry, yes.
Because he looks so much like his dad. He looks so much like his dad.
He looks so much like his dad.
But in seeing that picture, I didn't realize until you sent me the notes about the show today that was in fact Chris Henry's son, but that one, Pac-Man Jones had adopted him, and two, that he was taking him around on his college visits.
Yeah.
which I think, when you talk about legacy, you talk about, just leaving here and what you leave behind and what he's his father's namesake, one.
And his whole face. But,
Well, yeah, right. But the fact that he's also playing football, and if he never touched the football ever in life, that would be okay.
Yes.
But to also be playing football and to be playing so at a high level and being at the point now of being like, it just feels like a full circle moment.
Absolutely.
Because he's not far in age from where his dad was,
when all of this happened to him. Exactly. He never really knew him.
No, because he was so young. Man.
He was so young. He never really knew him. But I love that Adam did this because he's kept him alive for him. I am certain of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because they were very close.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that has been part of his mission in being in his life, is keeping his dad's legacy alive for him. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. He was his daddy, right? So I love this. And especially twofold, what you just said is perfect on the side of the son. But on Adam's side, for me, as somebody who's been villainized so much in football,
that needs to be highlighted.
I love that this part, and I love that he didn't make it public. He wasn't trying to be like, look at the good person I am.
Right.
He didn't do any of that. He just went about what he knew was necessary for making things better for this child and his daddy, knowing that he was gone. So that needs to be applauded for Adam. He didn't have to do that. He had enough of his own.
Yeah.
I think he had 5. He had signature. No need. He wasn't begging, longing for more kids. He did this out of a good space in his heart, right? Just genuinely being a good person. And so this is the stuff that doesn't get said. We only gonna talk about the stuff that he did that was foolish, right? We're not gonna talk about it. So I feel like our responsibility with having a platform to talk about it is to talk about it. And so I want to also, that's why this could have been a feel-good final thought, is applaud Adam Jones for his part in taking on this responsibility. And kudos to him that he's done it well, because now we're looking at this young man going to college. So kudos.
Shout out to you, Pac-Man.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, so Mike James, former Nets teammate of KD, says that KD was calling the series before it ended with Boston. The two made a bet that whoever was eliminated from the playoffs first, Mike James played over in the EuroLeague final overseas, would come see the other play. And so KD had to go see the EuroLeague finals.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Because they got swept in the first one. I'm sorry to kind of give that devious laugh for that, but no, I thought this was cool that KD honored that.
I like the part that he honored it, but what about him saying, you know what, this series is over before the series was over?
Because KD ain't a dummy.
He knew they were outmatched.
He knew that, he knew they were outmatched. And the reality is, the pieces that they got back for James Harden were cool, but
no,
when they traded all of those pieces to acquire James Harden,
they stunk up the place.
They splintered the team. You know what I'm saying?
They stunk up the place. That was the bad move. Move. Period. And wasn't no way around it. That's why they tried to quickly rectify it, but it was too late. You gave away what you needed and you brought in what you didn't. But anyway, I feel like, I thought this was interesting, just especially with him wanting to not be there.
Yeah.
It kind of was like, well done.
Right.
He was like, "Yeah, let this be over. I'll be over there to see you, bro." Like, wait,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then now it makes sense that why he would, request a trade.
Absolutely.
He knew. And I really wish we knew. I'm all good. I didn't like KD's move to Golden State after losing to them when they were up 3-1. I just didn't like the move, but I didn't use that move to kind of talk about the person that KD is. And I hate that what's happening now is that we're using that and we're using this as kind of a way to kind of,
degrade him.
Denigrate him.
Yeah.
And so I really want to know what's happening within the organization to make him decide to request a trade.
I mean, everybody want out. Let's just be clear.
Well, not everybody, because Kyrie opted back in.
Well, he didn't have a choice. He wanted out. Let's be clear. He wanted out. He didn't have no choice. Nobody wants you. That's why you opted back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why he opted back in. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he probably wasn't going to get the money from nobody that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Nobody is willing to give you. You're not. No. So you. It's almost more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, that's true.
So
like you still get the money even though you ain't playing.
Yeah. Like no, we good. You stay right where you are. Like yeah. So I just feel like he definitely. Yeah, it's something that's not right. And I'm gonna tell you what I hope it's not, because I really love this guy so much. I hope it's not Steve
Nash. Mm-hmm.
I hope it's not him, because I love him. And you know what? Sometimes you're just better as a player than a coach. Who knows?
Right. And
he just might be one of them dudes. I don't know, but he seems to be the one thing that's different.
Yeah. He may not have been ready for that position.
Yeah.
And
especially not to have 3 superstars.
Right.
Like, that's a lot to take on. That's a lot. 1 is a lot. 3?
3
is Lord. Yeah. So I hope that he's not the reason that this is the feelings they have. And I'm sure that whenever they do finally trade him, we'll learn more about what it's about. But either way, I just thought it was funny. I was like, dang, Katie, okay.
Right.
But at least you honored your bet. Right. Look, we're going to talk the positive part. You honored your bet, sir. So thank you for that.
And the one thing I want to say about that is, while Katie didn't play the greatest in that series, there's no part of me that believes that KD just shut it down and was like, all right, we're going home.
No, that's not his DNA.
Yeah.
That's not who he is. Like, he was going to compete.
Yeah.
If we know nothing, we know that, because the way he had when he was in Oklahoma City, he gonna compete.
Right.
So no, I don't believe that of him. I do not believe that at all. I just feel like he might have mentally been checked out.
That's true. Yeah.
He might have mentally. I mean, and I don't think he didn't say it from before the series started. It was during the series. So he had played a couple of games and probably like, listen, they about to kill us. I'll be over there.
They got they got too much for us to be able to handle.
Like he was, like you said, he's not a dummy. He was just being realistic.
These players know when they don't have enough pieces. Like, that's the reason why they go to management and say, yo, we need this, that, and the third.
Right.
Like all them years that that LeBron had to carry the mop bucket and the broom and the dustpan.
We were going to LeBron?
I know, I'm sorry.
How did I know we were about LeBron? We're gonna get LeBron.
I'm skipping Shannon. LeBron has to be in every segment.
Okay. All right.
Now let's move on to this Dolphins topic, because when there's smoke, there's fire, and Brian Flores told us, and this is the chickens coming home to lose. So the Dolphins are going to lose their 2023 first round pick. They're going to lose the 2024 third round pick.
Yeah.
And Stephen Ross will be suspended through October 17th and fined $1.5 million, even though I feel like that's a drop in the bucket for somebody that's a billionaire.
Yeah.
For violating the integrity of the game and tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton.
Yep.
do you feel like, right? And I'll just turn this into a question. Do you feel like they are still investigating Brian Flores's allegations?
No, it's so what I read, so you know me, I'm gonna go dig.
Yeah.
So in my digging, no. So as a part of this investigation, they included the Brian Flores component.
Wow.
And so in their investigation, they said that there was not enough. There was no evidence, not enough. There was no evidence that what he claimed was true.
Okay.
He, however, has come back out and said, but y'all think it's just strange that you think that no.
Yeah.
Like pretty much saying like, no. So this was the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion.
Okay.
To say, yeah, we probably talked to Tom Brady and Sean Payton before we should have, is much less of a blow than to say, yeah, we investigated and we found out that they were trying to get him to throw games. Like that goes to a whole nother level.
I mean, because honestly, I mean, I feel like that's them finding that out is kind of like, that's an admission of like that, well, maybe not. You know, these things have to be proven in a legal way. And you have to show not probable cause, but you have to show the evidence of what happened. Yeah.
So that, but if it's not big, but they've already shown you they're not of high integrity, right?
Right.
So to me, it's a foregone conclusion at this point. I'm gonna just assume. Look, this conspiracy theorist over here with that one, because I'm gonna just assume that because you are not a person of high integrity or team of high integrity, you probably did.
Right. Yeah.
You probably did. I just can't see this man making that up. I can't.
You knew.
I can't see that happening. He did not just make that up.
Yeah.
That's far-fetched and wild out beyond anything. You could have said anything if you were just angry and you wanted to get back at them. But this is so specific and so diabolical that no way you just made this up. No way.
Right. Yeah.
No way you just made that up. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see what goes, because I don't think it's over. I think their investigation is over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, we'll hear more about this.
Yes, we will. Because I don't think it was just these two random incidents of things that you did to try to, Nah. Somebody gonna come and spill the beans eventually. It might be 10 years from now, but somebody gonna get a story on one of them ESPN stories or something, or HBO gonna catch it. Somebody is gonna tell what happened.
Put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.